Let's see. This doesn't look right. Hold on a second. Something's not right here. Let me see. Ah. There it is. In a few minutes. Okay, I'm still just kind of goofing around here. I haven't really started anything. Let's see. Okay, everything's all set. Greetings, and welcome to the Inksomniacs Anonymous inaugural Salmon Run podcast. I am your host, Mr. Grizz's district manager, aka Wakanda's favorite DJ, aka the talk of the town. Hold on a second. Okay, I'm tripping. We'll have to edit that out later. Anywho, welcome one and all to the Salmon Run podcast. Today we will be examining the Salmon and Smokeyard, and the supplied weapons from Sir Grizz will be the, let's see, what weapon is that? The arrow spray, silver arrow spray. I can't remember the official name. I think it's the arrow spray RNG. The splat dualies, the H3 nozzle nose, and the rapid blaster. I'm not sure which version of the rapid blaster it is, but these are the weapons we'll be analyzing today and breaking down, as well as reviewing some different strategies you can use on Salmon and Smokeyard, whether you are in a squad or you are playing in the freelancer, the freelance pits of hell, as I like to call them. I think I'm gonna give it another 30 seconds, and I'm gonna go ahead and start one wave, and I'll break down each weapon as I play with it, give you guys some tips or tricks, or discuss some of the strategies I use when I play with each weapon, so that you guys can get an idea of how I play, and hopefully you'll be able to take something from it, gain a little bit of insight, as I have gained a lot of insight just from playing with different players over the years, different whether they're good or bad, since the initial release of Salmon Run. I've also gained a lot of insight and a lot of talent just from innate thoughts and just things that I'm thought that have occurred naturally as I play through different waves and different scenarios. Oh, minus 25's here. That's neat. So that'll make it a little easier. Alright, I guess I'll take advantage of this and go ahead and start for now. And then hopefully I'll be able to assemble two more, and I can talk about different squad strategies to use in Salmon Run. Before the map loads, I just want to say that, in my opinion, by far the easiest map in Salmon Run is the Salmon and Smokeyard. I think it's the smallest of the Salmon Run stages, so that even if you're playing solo or in freelance, you don't have to worry about you don't worry so much about what your coworkers are doing each shift and how far away they are. And it's also easy for you to recover from mistakes such as overextending or really getting caught up doing something you're not supposed to do while you're playing Salmon Run. Now, for each Salmon Run rotation, there's a different weapon for a different role each time. And a lot of times we're going to break these roles down as two simple things. You can either be a egg runner or a slayer, as they like to call them. As far as my own skill set, I fit into both of these roles. It just depends on the context of the situation. Also, ideally, I like to see myself as sort of a point guard or a point man. So I like to be aware of everything that's going on the map a lot of times. Make sure that the wave is not overrun. Now for wave 1 here, I have the splat dualies. The user with the splat dualies can usually play the role of slayer. So they'll have a lot of movement, as well as the ability to be versatile and get away from enemies. This weapon is appropriate for killing most lessers, well, pretty much all the lessers, and all the bosses. So it's a perfect weapon to play the role of Slayers. And if you like to run eggs, you can use the dodge roll to give you some extra maneuverability as well. Now the top strategy you use as a Slayer is to always confirm that you are cleaning up your messes as a Slayer. And what I mean by cleaning up your messes is, if there are a lot of lessers and you find things starting to get a bit out of hand, you have a weapon that can kill very easily, like a rapid fire splat dualies, or say like if I had the arrow spray right now. If I had a weapon, if I have either of those weapons, my job will be to clear up the lesser salmon eggs so that my team can have an easier time managing the wave. A lot of times people fall into a selfish habit of essentially just forgetting about everything else that's going on around them except for what they're shooting and killing at times. And that's not something I like to do. But if you're splat dualies, the biggest strengths of this weapon, I think, the biggest strengths of that weapon are essentially to get in and get out of situations because of their versatilities, and then also have a nice bit of mid-range. Now that I have switched weapons, I'm going to talk about the H3 nozzle nose. In the case of the two nozzle noses you can receive in Salmon Run, this one's my preferred one due to the rapid fire option. I know it's a pain for some people because they don't like to tap the trigger, but I like it because it has quite a bit of range in addition to that rapid fire, despite the lack of strength behind each rapid fire shot. I didn't want to kill that guy there, but I accidentally did. And again, it's probably for the best in freelance because I have no idea what my freelance friends will do in these situations. Alright, so the nozzle nose can be a Slayer weapon or a egg runner weapon. It really just depends on your playing style. Me personally, since I like to play with ranged weapons, I usually use it in the mode of a balanced player when I play with nozzle nose. So I will pick at enemies or pick apart enemies from a range, or in the case of helping out my teammates a lot of times as well. Oh, I got blindsided by the steel eel. I turned my back on the steel eel. Still a mistake. In the case of a lot of enemies, I will, just like I said, just try to grab their attention, take the focus off my teammates, so that these bosses or enemies can be slayed. I don't really use it as a primary slaying weapon unless I need to, or in case of like a higher egg quota, I have to slay a bit more than normal. Otherwise, if I have this weapon, I'm normally going to play the role of egg runner, or just try to be conservative and supportive. The H3 nozzle nose is probably one of the best Salmon Run support weapons, but depending on your skill with it, you can be an awesome Slayer with it. I've seen many crazy things done with it. Alright, now I'm rolling with the arrow spray. So another important thing that I didn't get to talk about already is turf coverage in Salmon Run. This weapon is really ideal for that. If anyone's played Turf War or been playing Splatoon since its heyday in Splat 1, they know that this weapon will cover up some turf in a really fast time. And this is important especially for higher quota levels or higher hazard levels in Salmon Run. When you have this weapon, your job is essentially to eliminate lessers and essentially cover as much turf as you can to make it easy for your teammates to do work. If you're doing your job with this weapon, you will know right away, because of the ability that your teammates will have to move around, and essentially have control of the map in Salmon Run. Now I'll talk about the specials next wave. Well, you know what? I may say my special opinions for the next rotation. I don't know if I'll talk about those tonight. My different strategies with those. I will say that out of every Salmon Run special, depending on your skill set, see, in my own opinion, I'm not like the most accurate shooter. So I prefer something along the lines of a Stingray or a Bomb Rush, I must admit now, which is wild considering how long I've been playing the game. I never thought I'd say Oh, Bomb Rush is my favorite. It's one of my favorite specials, but it's true. I would prefer a Stingray or a Bomb Rush simply because I can do the most damage with those. And I know that 9 times out of 10 that if I have those specials, that whoever's on the freelance team with me or whatever computer, well not computer, but whatever other player is playing, I do not know if they will use the weapon correctly. I have no confidence in them using the weapon correctly as well, so it can be a bit of a real pain in the ass, especially in a case of you clearing a wave and then after wave 3, some smart decides they don't want to use this special at all, so they start using this Stingray after wave 3. Anywho, I didn't really have many other notes on the Arrow Spray. I think it's a really good and versatile weapon. It can be used as a slaying weapon, but it just really depends on your skill set with it. It requires a hop if you're fighting enemy bosses like a Steelhead. That's the only weapon I would find it'd be a pain playing with. But on a level like the Salmon and Smokyard with its natural elevations, you can take advantage of it, especially with the nozzle nose. I mean not nozzle nose, but especially with the Arrow Spray. So if you're playing Arrow Spray and Salmon Run on Smokyard, if you see Steelheads, try to lure them a little closer to the basket. Don't try to take them on at the lower altitude levels, as you'll run into a lot of trouble trying to hop and kill them and essentially blindside yourself from other lessers that may be in the area. As far as this rotation, hey Skull, how goes it? As far as this rotation goes, in the 3 of the 4 weapons, now I have Rapid Blaster. You can use 2. You can really use 3 out of the 4 slaying weapons and have a pretty good and dominant run. Which, in this case, that's what makes this rotation a bit delicious. Well, more than a bit delicious, it makes it really delicious. As far as other rotations go, you won't always see things this generous. Mr. Grizz isn't always so generous with his rotation selections, because I get killed being silly. I can still be killed being silly and greedy. So they keep my eye on the prize. There we go. So, getting back on topic. Now I have the Rapid Blaster. What you're gonna do when you have this weapon is you are going to want to, as you see, try to keep your distance from everything, because it could be extremely difficult to deal with hordes of lessers at a time. But you want to make all your shots count. So definitely shoot your shot with the Rapid Blaster and aim from a distance. And lean on your teammates for support as far as eliminating the lessers if you can. If you don't have the option available, I will recommend you staying far away from your teammates and just picking apart bosses and landing shots on the lessers yourself. Like a good strategy I use is, depending on how my teammates are treating the grillers in this scenario, I would stand back and start shooting the lessers, and I wouldn't even worry about landing shots on the grillers, because I have no guarantee that they will get the lessers off of me, and it's very hard to manage lessers if you are a blaster, well, this blaster in particular, because they are quite the pain in the derriere. Alright, so cool. Another, if you have a Rapid Blaster, you have very good movement as well. Like, if you're like me and you don't play Blaster outside of any mode but Salmon Run, you'll want to make use of that and take advantage of the quick movement it gives you. But like in a situation where you have a lot of space, definitely pick your enemies apart from a distance. Alright, so now we have High Tide on wave 2, and I have to splat dualies. What I want to do is I will want to focus on controlling the amount of enemies that are able to navigate this small space near the basket. So I'm going to want to try to decrease as many lessers as possible, and as we lure bosses closer, make sure that we have room to navigate over here. So this role could include killing lessers as well as shooting any annoying bosses attributes. Well, not attributes, but any bosses like annoying quirks, like the Drizzler has the rain clouds they like to shoot off. So if you got a weapon like Splat Dualies, you can be all around, you can kill bosses in addition to keeping the area clean. If you don't do this, you have a weapon like the Dualies, And as I said in wave 1 of the previous wave, things can get really out of hand really quickly. Another thing you'll definitely want to focus on is boss luring, especially at this rate, because as you can see, we're having a bit of trouble getting quota now because all my teammates are on the other side trying to get eggs instead of luring things a bit closer. So if you're on high tide, if you're at high tide on Smokeyard, definitely, unless you're super confident with your skill set, do not roll over to the other side of the basket or make mistakes like this and use your Stingray after we've secured the quota and it's not even needed anymore. Oh, hey, Q Square, how goes it? Fighting your 3rd or 4th? Okay, Skull, I'll let you know. Alright, so we have another high tide. I have the arrow spray. As I mentioned earlier, what you'll want to do is focus on map control and turf control if you have the arrow spray in Salmon Run. So I'm going to be focusing on turf control and lesser control. Now that I have this weapon, I can keep the lessers at bay for a bit so that my teammates can essentially have free run of the map. Because I'll essentially have this side of the map claimed as my own. And as long as the freelancers don't die over there or do anything stupid, we should be in good shape to dominate this wave. Oh boy. So like I said, as long as they don't do anything stupid, and then bang zoom, what do we have? Alright, so now I gotta regain the map control because things are getting a bit hectic. Alright, I'm gonna get this eel before he becomes a threat. Another good strategy on Smokeyard is to kill the eel, especially at high tide, before it can get over or reach its full potential on the map. Because the eel takes up so much room, you will not have any maneuverability if you allow the eels to survive too long. So a good rule of thumb I like to practice is I like to kill the eels before they can fully realize their potential. Alright, so there's 2 eggs gone, another eel. Alright, things are picking up the pace a little bit here. Oh, that egg's gone. There's quota. There's rain. Alright. Another bad habit of we all run into we all have bad habits in Salmon Run. And one of my bad habits is depending on how hectic things get, a lot of times because I don't use motion controls, I won't see a lot of things going on as well as someone who uses motion control might see. Like I'm sure I ignored at least 3 or 4 Drizzler missiles there, not because I wanted to ignore them, but because I don't have the reaction time to jerk the camera up like a motion controller player would and shoot down the rain cloud. So a lot of times if I don't shoot it down, it's not because I'm ignoring them, but it's because really I don't see them and I don't have the quick twitch reflexes here to do that, or I don't have the quick twitch controls to make use of them. Overall, it was good. It was a good second game. It was easy to manage. The freelancers had some issues. I will say another Smokeyard tidbit. Another Smokeyard tidbit is if it is high tide on the Smokeyard, unless you are super duper confident, I'm sure I mentioned this already, unless you are super duper confident, you do not, I repeat, you do not go to the other side and distract or deter any bosses from coming to the basket. Because when you have a high quota level, like when the higher the quota it is, the more imperative it is that you get your quota in, or get your quota completed early. The later you wait to complete your quota, unless you're aiming for high scores or you're super experienced, the more difficult it is to finish obtaining quota. So another good rule of thumb I like to practice is I like to obtain my quotas early. I like to knock it on out because I get really stressed out trying to pull some last second shenanigans for quotas, and I like to be really aware of the clock. So if we don't have quota by say 30-second mark, then I tense up automatically just by reflex, because in my head I'm trying to figure out where's the logic in us not having quota, especially if we have a higher end or lower end quota. So I'm gonna wonder what's everybody doing, what are other coworkers doing at that time. If we don't have quota, what are they doing? What are they killing? Why haven't they brought any eggs back? Why have they not retrieved any eggs and brought them to the basket? So since we're playing Fog now, Goldie Fog, Goldie, well not Goldie Seeking, but Goldie Fog. The strategy is the same as normal except for the low visibility as a result of the fog, which is a bit annoying but really easy to manage. The most annoying thing about the fog is, like, if you're a shooter weapon like myself right now, and you already have trouble shooting range, it becomes that much more hard to eliminate range from your from the basket area. Because the drizzlers, I hate those things, the drizzlers. They like to aim their rain clouds up into regions where you cannot reach, even more so when we have fog waves. Alright, cool. Dead flyfish. So, do we have any questions? Who's trying to learn here? No one. This is the Salmon Run podcast, Q Squid. Hey, Vanu, how goes it? Thank you for stopping by to show that support, bro. I appreciate you. This is a Salmon Run podcast. The Salmon Run podcast is just going to be about me sharing my experiences and just basically trying to help people learn how to better adjust or better handle different situations in Salmon Run. And this is for the current rotation, the Smoke Yard, that started at 7 and ends at what time does it end? Thursday? I think it is Thursday night or morning, if I'm not mistaken. Whoa, okay. So, another thing that just occurred to me, another Salmon Run basic. In regards to fly fishing tinsel missiles, do not share your tinsel missiles or your stingrays with your teammates. So it can be a bit funny and a good gag to use at parties. It's not something you want to do, especially in a very tense and especially in a very tense situation in Salmon Run. Alright, let's see. So I'm currently playing a Slayer weapon with the dualies. Alright, spices down. Alright, you're gonna be ready? That's cool with me. So, I'm trying to think of what else I can pass on for this rotation. Ooh, crap, I almost got killed by that. I should probably talk more about the basics and just general rules of thumb and general knowledge to go along with Salmon Run. Okay, it ends the 9th at 6 a.m. Okay. So yeah, Thursday morning at 7 in the morning. Gotcha. Thank you, Houston. So this rotation will last until Thursday morning, which is pretty good when you think about it. This is a pretty solid rotation. Very, very high score compatible because it has 3 very versatile shooter weapons in the splat dualies, the nozzle nose, and the arrow spray. All these weapons are very, very conducive to high scores in Salmon Run because a lot of players know how to use these weapons with some sort of competency, so that when these type of rotations come into play, it makes it a lot easier for players to develop their skills in Salmon Run. I want to offer a tutorial on the cannons as well, but I'm not sure what else to say or add on cannon strategy. I would say definitely be aware of your ink gauge and try to refill as much as possible or as early as possible so that there's never a moment where you have to worry about refilling your ink. Another cool feature that comes with using the cannons is, depending on your special, especially if you don't like it, if you have, say, the splashdown or inkjet, you can use your special to get a quick ink refill and resume shooting right away, like so. So, fun times with your specials and fun times in Salmon Run. I think the only special that doesn't allow you to take advantage of that is the well, there's only 2 specials, are the Stingray and the Inkjet. I don't think you can hop right back into cannons right away if you're using those in those scenarios. Hey, Big CN, how goes it? Tell them to go to your basket on fall grounds on how to use Stingray on Mothership. Okay, I will if it comes up Q Squid. I'm just about ready to wrap up the podcast section of the stream for the evening. I'm just trying to think if I missed anything in regards to any other weapons. The only people I know for sure that could tell me that would be Spicy Assess, but I've waited to join voice call to make sure I got all my thoughts and things out without being interrupted or losing my train of thought. Which is easy to do in a game like Splatoon 2, and it's especially easy in Salmon Run. It's real easy to lose your train of thought and lose your focus on what you're doing if you're not paying attention. This podcast will show up on the on YouTube and potentially SoundCloud as well. Now, I am worried about the audio quality on SoundCloud. I'm gonna play around with it first and just see. BCN says, going well. This rotation is so much better in freelance. Still getting players not using their special, but overall it's a good run. That's good to hear, CN. That's really good to hear. Well, I think we'll always have people who forget, air quote, forget about their specials. Or like I think what happens, I don't think people forget about their specials in most cases. I think that people, like, when they're playing Salmon Run, they get really overconfident with a weapon they have. And they no longer have the desire to use this special, or like they never feel empowered enough with this special to feel like they can make a difference. If that makes any sense. Like I know I've had a couple moments in higher level Salmon Run matches where I don't feel like I can do nothing because I have Bomb Rush, and I'll have by luck or draw I'll probably end up with like a weapon I'm not very good with. Not very comfortable with. So if I have that in Bomb Rush, then like unless it's high tide and I have a lot of lessers, I don't feel like I make much of an impact on the wave at all. But what I do think is can help a lot of players is if you find a way to make an impact with the weapon you are given. Like if you don't find a way to make a impact with the weapon you are given, it really decreases your chances of success in Salmon Run. Yeah, I saved your spices. So once I realized that, I just always look for a way to, no matter what weapon I have, to play my role and have some impact on the game. Like a big thing for me was I don't play with chargers at all, and learning how to pick my spots with chargers and wipe out bosses, or just really just dominate short areas and make sure that my teammates have more space to work was a brilliant thing for me to do. So like in the case of this rotation, like if I have Rapid Blaster, Bomb Rush, this wave 3, we're getting overrun, I'm going to focus on like if any bosses like Steelheads, Steel Eels, and Stingers that I can have a high degree of success with, as opposed to shooting lesser salmonids like Quahogs, which I feel like it'll be a waste of time for me because it'll take me too long to take them down. Let me see if I can give an example. Now there's a Quahog there. Oh no, they're both out there, over there, all three. Another thing, I do think it's a good idea to be conservative. If you are a not a shooter, but a blaster or a charger. A lot of cases, just to hang back and watch how your teammates are playing, so that you can pick your spots and be most effective. Because if you don't have a whole lot of experience with the weapon, or like a whole lot of confidence, you're gonna become a liability quickly and allow your coworkers to get overrun. Like I play a completely different game if I'm playing blaster, as opposed to my moments with one of the shooter weapons this rotation. Like now, I'm just doing what I can to erase what's in the way so that we have room to work. And another good thing you can do with blasters is it is really easy to lure when you have a weapon like a blaster. Because you don't have to worry about killing things with your shots so easily. It takes more than one shot. It takes a couple shots in a lot of cases unless you get directs. Especially with this particular blaster. I think maneuverability is key, and definitely picking your spots with this blaster. You don't go charging in. You don't fight a lot of bosses at close range. Always fight from a distance. Always fight from a safe space if you're a blaster, especially a rapid blaster like so. The one exception to this rule, of course, would be something like a Clash blaster, in addition to a Grisco blaster, of course. And that, if that's the case, then you'll want to work from the mid-range a little bit more. Those weapons work as tremendous mid-range weapons. You make use of their skill sets. Or make use of the skill set you can have with those weapons. Oh no, JoJo. Oh boy. You've done it now, JoJo. Alright, so going into specials now. Now that I have my favorite special, the Stingray, we're going to talk about the strengths and weaknesses of each special and how you can make a difference with this weapon, regardless of the weapon you have in Salmon Run. Number one things I will say is, no matter what, always make sure you find time to use your special during the rotation, regardless of the wave. Early on, in the early Salmon Run days, it used to be like a little silly thing that people thought, oh well, I should use my special till wave 3. I think it was more of a pride thing than anything, and just like it sounded like a safe strategy. But what people have learned in the Salmon Run community as we've gotten better at the game and just had more experience is you have to have those specials ready to fire no matter the rate. Because if you do not, then situations can escalate in a hurry and lead to some really painful losses. And I can tell you I've had quite a few painful losses as a result of somebody not using the special in Salmon Run. The Stingray, speaking of which, the Stingray is probably the most versatile special in my opinion. Depending on how you line it up and how you use it, you can kill any enemy boss in a matter of seconds. You definitely though, you have to make sure you use it quickly and decisively. Because if you do not use the Stingray in a quick and decisive manner, then you run into issues such as, say, a boss crashing into you, or a lesser salmonid blindsiding you. So, like, if it's the beginning of a wave, or just any type of veteran situation, like say it's a wave 1, your quota is somewhere in the range of 19 to 20, and you're on a bigger stage, like say the Ruins of Arc Polaris, Spawning Grounds, or definitely Lost Outposts. You're going to want to use that Stingray to wipe out stingers, and in some cases flyfish, before they can control the wave. If you do not do this, a lot of times, playing with other players, like, depending on your level of trust in the squad, you may have some squad members that'll actually go out and take care of the bosses. 9 times out of 10, you won't. So I definitely recommend, if you have a Stingray, if it's early enough or late enough, definitely early enough if you don't feel as confident with it, use that Stingray to wipe out a stinger or any type of boss that can change the tide of your wave. Because those bosses left unchecked will absolutely ruin and shit on any opportunity you have in completing a wave without any type of stress or anxiety. Another good tool with the Stingray is if you have a lot of bosses in around the basket, such as scrappers, steelheads, eels, things like that. Depending on your trajectory, you can project your Stingray out and wipe out a lot of bosses in a real quick fashion. You just have to be committed to your angle and really confident in your spacing when you do it. Like, it's kind of hard to explain. I think there's a bit of a learning curve to it. But I think once you do, how should I describe it? Once you have that comfortability, like that comfortability with it, then the Stingray is probably, like I said, it's probably the most useful special for me personally. Anyone else I would think would say the Inkjet. I think the Inkjet is great as well. the Achilles heel with the inkjet is to kill a lot of bosses that aren't, say, stingers, or to kill. You have to have great accuracy. That's the Achilles heel of the inkjet. My issue with inkjet is I don't have the greatest accuracy all the time. I have vision issues in a lot of cases that I don't really talk about or very much that affect me. In addition to not having motion controls, so well, not being any good at motion controls and not handling motion controls well. So I'll miss a lot of shots if I'm not careful. So a lot of times I'll get caught or killed because I'm steadying my shot and making sure that my shot is on the money, as opposed to making those quick, precise shots that you see a lot of players use in ranked battle or on the EU or JP Splatoon servers, if that makes any sense. Now, I'm not capable of making those shots, but if you are, more power to you, and kudos to you. I'll be able to do it every blue moon, every once in a while. But the other thing I think is great about Inkjet is you can cover so much of the map and kill and wipe out. You can wipe out a lot of bosses in a real quick amount of time. So you have to be very judicious if you have it, I think. Like, if you are in a wave where, like, say you're in freelance, which a lot of people play freelance. Still, for some reason to this day, I honestly, I'll probably never be the biggest fan of freelance again, but if you're in freelance and you have a wave where you have a lot of things going on, a lot of bosses at the basket, you're going to want to drop that inkjet or pop that inkjet off just to relieve some of the pressure on your teammates to make some noise and secure your victory. So you will probably, like, say, steelheads. Definitely aim for the their growing pimple whenever they increase, whenever they start to launch their attack. Your inkjet. Another good strategy for inkjet is especially on the bigger maps, is definitely, instead of letting your teammates go out and manually kill some of those stingers and whatnot because they're far off, definitely make use of your inkjet to kill it. We play freelance because we like to suffer. That's funny. Whoa. So, going back to getting back on topic. I think I mentioned everything I really can about inkjet. If anyone else wants to chime in or has any other things you feel like I should mention, let me know, and I will cover it. As far as going back to the weapons again, I think I've covered everything. Especially, I really want to double down on saying that if you have an arrow spray, your focus should 100% be on, wow, I can't believe that. Your focus should 100% be on managing the turf and lessers where applicable. I shouldn't have been hit by all that rain, but I wasn't really being very aware. I did get the boss threat out of the way. Do not worry about bosses like a steelhead unless you have the altitude advantage like so. That makes it a whole lot easier to deal with. Oh, that's one way to kill it. And definitely, if you don't have the confidence, do not go to the other side of the smoke yard. Unless you want smoke. Everybody doesn't want the smoke, everybody doesn't need the smoke. What else can I talk about? What else can I mention here? As I continue to talk about things for the very first episode of the Salmon Run podcast. Inksomniacs Anonymous. For those of you who I haven't welcomed already, welcome to the show. I'm glad you guys decided to be here with me and hang out with me tonight. I'm going to try to do this podcast at the beginning of every rotation now. And try to make, it'll probably be like a little short broadcast that discusses everything and just gets people up to par. I said gets people up to par. Makes people aware of what's going on in Salmon Run. Jelly's not very good, I see. Another strategy for this stage, especially for grillers, is if you are targeted by the griller, please make sure you have enough awareness to keep your teammates from getting killed by the griller, especially if you're targeted by the griller. Be aware of your teammates' position as well as your own, and try to make sure that you know what's going on, especially with things like small fries running around as well. Nice bomb rush. Hey, Sparkle Jess, I'll go here. Ooh, scary. With grillers are really easy. I think probably one of the easier event waves in Salmon Run. No fair. It kept me from getting my air gear. But any questions for anyone from the Peanut Gallery? Anyone watching at home? I really appreciate you all for being here. Really appreciate you guys stopping by. Yes, this is a pretty good rotation so far. Pretty solid Salmon Run rotation. Now, high tide freelance grillers. Oh boy, I got so many issues with that. Yee. Hey Hawk, how goes it? The runs have been going okay so far. Oh yeah, there's Hawking. There's a Hawk. If there aren't any questions, I can finally go into VC. Maybe. No, that was Hawking. That was Hawking coming in. That's what it was, Jess. There's no need to be alarmed. He just does that. He has to make his presence known when he shows up to stream. Now I see Ani here too. I think I saw Ani. I have to scroll up. I gotta scroll up. I missed a lot in chat while I was playing. Let me see. Looks like we got a full crowd here. Jams in the audience. I don't see Dream lurking tonight. No, I need a fourth. I would like a fourth at some point. One day, maybe, perhaps. So I know Skull is here. I think Skull asked first. I don't know if Skull is still around. I know Skull asked really early, but if Skull doesn't mind. Hi, Ani. How goes it? How you doing this evening? Cha-Cha. Oh, Cha-Cha? Who is Cha-Cha? Is it Chale? Who is Cha-Cha? I have no idea who Cha-Cha is. Jess, thank you for that host. Oh my gosh, I appreciate it. Uh-oh, Spicy's going. Do the cha-cha. Cha-cha real smooth. Turn it up. Ani, congratulations on your 9s. Do you have any insight? Any whoa, who is that? I don't know who that person is either. I'm not gonna start it because I don't know who either of these people are, so I'm just gonna hold up. I feel like I'm being trolled. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to do that, but then minus 25 won't be able to get in then. That's the only thing. And I invited minus 25 earlier. Earlier. Ani, do you have any tips? Ani says Spicy. Who else is here? Jam, Hawking, Akeda, Q Squid. Do you guys watching in the viewers box? Do you guys have any insight or any tips you might want to add, or suggestions you might want to provide the users to go on the podcast? I gotta give Ankle Mochi a shout out. No doubt, no doubt. Ankle Mochi, the real MVP, the real freelancer MVP. Oh, they left. Okay. Well, that happened. So maybe we'll have our all these weapons feel very strong in squads. Okay. They're very good for survivability and egg running. Thank you, Ani. That's another good point I forgot to bring up earlier when I was playing with the arrow spray and the splat dualies. Two strong weapons that are really good for egg running. Okay, CN, that's fine. But two really good weapons that are really strong, good for egg running as well as support. Or just depends on you. You know, you can pick your poison with any of these three weapons. Your internet's doing you a disservice. Okay. The arrow spray is a really good weapon for egg running as well as turfing in Salmon Run, which I can't understate the importance of. Like, a lot of people will really not really pay attention to that or really focus on it very much, but around the basket area especially, if you're playing in an lure heavy environment, you will want to have someone making sure the turf is aimed, because depending on the scenario, you can run into a lot of drizzler missiles or just anything that just mucks up the scenario. Drizzler missiles and steel eels do it more quickly than other bosses, but a weapon like an arrow spray can erase the damage they do in seconds. And splat dualies is also good. And I think the splat dualies is more competent at lesser shredding, though in the case of this rotation, splat dualies, nozzle nose, and arrow spray can equally handle lesser killing and lesser thinning with some efficiency, like with some degree of efficiency. If I had to vote, I'd probably put my I would lean on the splat dualies or the arrow spray. I would lean on those two weapons more for lesser killing, and I lean on the nozzle nose and rapid blaster for egg running and whatnot. The rapid blaster, I don't know. I can't really give a lot of tips on how I would best make use of it. As I said before, like my normal style of play when I play with it is just to keep my distance and support my teammates, and try not to get into too much trouble or become a liability. But I really love to get a good blaster player here on the podcast to talk about it, or give me some things to share with the audience, because I really feel like the audience, the Salmon Run audience, and just the casual player could benefit from hearing different types of tactics you could use as a blaster to increase your survivability, as well as be a good teammate / co-worker. Like I said, I think I covered all the weapons. I haven't covered all the specials yet. I think I'm gonna go over a few more like just basic Salmon Run tactics that not a lot of people discuss or really use as common knowledge after we start the next game. I'm just waiting for Spicy to come back, and I'm also waiting for CN to join, and then I will go from there. Let me see. Otherwise, how was everybody's Tuesday today? You guys do anything awesome? Have anything awesome happen to you? Let me know in the comments. Comment on this video. Please support the official release. Trying to think of something else generic I could say. Oh wow, Dracoff. Thank you for that raid. I appreciate you. Q Squid, hook him up with that shout out, yo. Hook him up. How was your stream tonight, Dracoff? Sparkle just got back into working out today. Feeling sore. You got a good sore. That's what's up. What type of workouts did you do? None too eventful. You did some freelance nines. Ew. Yuck. Gross. That's so gross. Dracoff, the podcast is about each episode of the podcast is going to be about the Salmon Run rotation in question. Like in this case, it's the Salmon and Smokyard rotation with the Aero Spray, Splat Dualies, Nozzle Nose, and Rapid Blaster. And I'll be discussing different tactics and skills you can use to be successful during the rotation, in order to benefit the casual players, as well as just pass on some general tips and tactics for people who may or may not need them. I also think it always goes along with furthering my ultimate goal of making sure that the Salmon Run community gets acknowledged and continues to grow as this game continues to live out its lifespan. Elliptical for cardio, then some ab and butt workouts. You did some squats. That's what's up. Alright, so we're waiting on the spicy one now, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check and make sure I don't have any messages or anything. I'm surprised Hawking didn't ask to join us. If not, I can already go ahead and start another game. I was just trying to do my diligence. Your internet gave up? Oh no. Rest in power to your internets. Hopefully it's not for the whole night. Definitely get in contact with your ISP, and I will be in contact with you throughout the evening. I'm gonna start the next game here. But I think I'll close this podcast by talking about one more common / not so common thing in Salmon Run that a lot of people don't think about or really consider. And I think that's map awareness, which I'm sure has been a bigger thing in other games as well. But being aware of the map as well as the situation can go a long way to guaranteeing a very, very secure Salmon Run. Oh yeah, Q-Squid, I'm glad you're getting a new router. Congratulations. So, I'm going to try to see if I can use some examples of that this way. It's low tide, so this is the most space you can have at on the Smokyard right now. And I have a weapon like the Splat Dualies, which I can play either role with right now. I could be a Slayer or an Egg Runner. So I'm gonna probably opt for a balance. And first, I'm gonna clean up some lessers. 25 got the stinger out of the way, so I'm gonna take the egg and run. Alright, now we're gonna move on toward the other stinger here. Now there's the eel coming. I'm gonna wait. This is called situational awareness. You're gonna wait and see if the eel is on you or your teammates. If it's not on you, then you proceed toward the stinger. If it is on you, oof, I got myself killed being goofy because I couldn't determine if the eel was on me or not. I should have been able to, but I was too busy running my mouth. But if the eel is on you, you back off, you reassess the situation, and then you commit to whatever your next move will be. This is a bit out of hand for us to have 3 shooter weapons, 3 really decent shooter weapons right now. Alright, so that guy's gone. Cool. Alright, so there's quarter. But definitely, situational awareness is very, very key to having a good Salmon Run rotation or a good Salmon Run wave. You just have to make sure that you are aware of what's going on in addition to the egg count everywhere. Because if you don't, then things can get really messy in a hurry, or they can definitely get really out of hand and out of control. Somehow we got 45 eggs there. Don't ask me how that works out. My own lack of situational awareness there gave a perfect example of how things can get a little messy. Alright, so now we have high tide Knight. And let's see. We gotta rush. Okay, so there's two strategies on Smokeyard. You can go to the side where CN is, where you can aim for high egg scores. Or you can go to the other side. I actually prefer this side because I usually play with a lot of players that are a bit conservative when it comes to running eggs. The key is as you have to stick together as a team or things can really go bad really quickly. In my case here, I was really lucky. I can distract them for a little bit and I had to come back. Just because of the position I ended up in when I was getting away from over there in the high edge spot. Whoa, okay. Alright, so I'm giving my teammates time to run eggs. Let's see what they do. Oh, they switch. If you're not comfortable with your team in Goldie Rush, you have to. It's imperative that you practice situational awareness. In this case, I'm using my Stingray early. Well, I'm dead. So it's apparently nobody was in front of me. 1925. I thought I had at least one teammate near me to attack the bosses closer, but apparently I did. Alright, so I'm gonna rapid blast. I'm gonna back off here. Hop on the wall, distract them, come back up. Oh, they switched, and I'm dead. That was a mess. Again, I'm not the best blaster player, so that was a bit of a hot mess, to say the least. Alright. Moving on to wave 2, I'm a nozzle nose. Well, wave 3, excuse me. Every match use a hot mess. Is it a hot mess or is it a hot diarrhea mess? Situational awareness. So I see there's an eel over there on the right. There's freelancers fighting that steel hit and slowing him down. And CN and 25 have that stuff handled over here. Freelancers still down there playing with steel heads, so I am free to make a move here to grab an egg and continue to run up the egg count. Because I do not believe they will be able to kill the steel heads with the arrow spray in that scenario over there. Alright, cool. He's still playing with steel heads. See, these are the type of things. So I'm gonna kill this stinger because it's threat level alpha, considering it showed up so late in the quarter. And there's an example of versatile stingray use. I was able to wipe up 2 scrappers. Alright, so if someone kills that eel, we'll be in business to run the exit basket. Rain cloud down, 2 scrappers. Hit the basket if they'll turn around and show some awareness. Cool, just gotta kill that scrapper. Cool, the eggs are... So if we lose this wave, it's because of one player. And that's the freelancer Y, who stalled the steelheads pretty much from day 1 that way. So I'm gonna get away from them in disgust right now. Is it easy to jump on that wall on high tide? It can be. It just, you have to take the right angle. I think the best angle is if you're jumping from that opposite side so that you can see where you're jumping. Otherwise, it can be a little challenging. Yeah, the freelancers stalled those bosses, so that made the wave a whole lot more closer than it needed to be. My freelancers stalled those steelheads quite a bit. Another point of emphasis in Salmon Run, if you're on a smaller stage, you don't want to hem up any bosses or keep bosses from getting close to the basket, especially when you don't have quota. Alright, I guess I will start the next game. Does anyone else have any questions? Q Squid seems to be asking the most questions and being receptive to my foolishness. I appreciate you, Q Squid. Random stop things early. Use this best practices to just help them kill and run those eggs. It can be. I just think I'm a bit torn on it a lot of times because I feel like if I'm going to help them kill it, if we don't kill it quickly, like if I'm going over there and we don't kill the boss quickly, then it's just waste time. I waste a lot of time. I don't want to run into that issue or me running over to help them compounds the situations. I feel like it's easier if they die doing something silly and I can revive them when they're close to the basket. That way, any type of enemy aggro, especially if it's like a steelhead or something, can get to the basket and I can kill it a lot more efficiently there as opposed to potentially losing the eggs. But I don't know, I'm a lot more cynical about freelancers than I used to be. I used to be super naive and nice about reviving freelancers. I think I've lost way too many games due to bad freelancer decisions. So I've gotten a little bit more savage, as they say. Is that what the cool kids say? I've gotten a lot more savage in regards to how often I do or don't revive the freelancers. We'll just pop this scrapper here. Another scrapper. Back to the basket. 7 eggs. Oh, that's not good. But right now, what I have not been aware of is the quota because I'm playing with a weapon that's I usually play evasive with in the rapid blaster. So instead of playing aggressive like I normally would, I am a lot more self-conscious about everything that's going on around me and just playing that support role as opposed to if I was playing a shooter weapon, I'd be a lot more aggressive about killing a few more bosses and really getting that egg total up. Another cool feature of the smoke yard is when you're targeted by a tensor missile, if you walk onto these platforms here, a lot of times you can get the tensor missile to hit the things above you. You can also stand underneath the smoke yard platforms if there's an a drizzler shooting a rain cloud, and if you're standing under one of those platforms, the rain won't damage you or affect you. So it's a good spot if you need time to recover from a hazy situation or a hairy situation, especially at high tide. Trying to think of some other features. Oh yes, most importantly, I can't believe I forgot. So say you are targeted by a steel eel on this stage. One of the things that make this the easiest Salmon Run stage is if you're targeted by a steel eel, you can step on that platform there and this target will choose to move towards, well, the steel eel will choose to pursue someone else instead of you. I wish this applied for any other boss, but the only other boss this does apply for is this also applies for grillers. If you're talking about grillers or steel eels, all you have to do is hop on this platform here. You'll be safe. You won't be overwhelmed. This is especially good if you're playing a weapon like a blaster in this rotation, and you won't do so well with being targeted. So you move on to the side over there, and you avoid getting targeted. Also, say you're targeted by the stingray in Salmon Run. If you don't want to get your friends damaged while they make an attempt to wipe out the stingers, try to move into a position so that your raid has no chance of wiping out your teammates while it's making an attempt to hit you. Another cool feature I've picked up of this stage is there's a lot of tight spaces you can use to navigate and avoid steel eels on this stage. Like, for instance, as I was getting hawked down by the steel eel right here, a lot of times what I like to do is if I'm coming up and there's a steel eel also coming up, I like to use this little corner to hop around wherever the eel is going. And if I'm lucky, the eel's hitbox won't knock me off. But if I'm unlucky, that still ill hitbox will malfunction. Same applies to Cohawks, who just seem to have the reach of Stretch Armstrong a lot of time. Alright, so that eel is on CN, and oh no, it's on me maybe. I get confused a lot of times about who the boss is on, just depending on my teammate, because I'm not sure what my teammate's gonna do. And I hesitate a little bit more about making my move. Alright, gonna clean this area up a little bit. Ooh, I missed. Alright, nobody aim for the right side. Eel right there, okay. Alright, one more down. I think that eel's on me. Oh boy, 2 stings. That's not gonna work for me. Alright, cool. That should be game. Where are all the eggs at? What the heck, yo? Oh, now there's another stinger, huh? How swill. Alright, this quarter. I wonder what happened to all the eggs a while ago. We had a lot of bosses over here in play. I left these drizzlers for me to murder. I don't know why they nearly did, but I'll take it. Alright. Good job, Jenna. Alright, I guess I'm gonna end the podcast there. Since it seems like you guys have gotten quiet. Tune in for the next podcast on Thursday. We'll be taking a look at that rotation. I believe that stage will be the Lost Outpost. For now, I'm just going to shift to just playing games and having fun with you guys like normal. So, if you guys have any questions for the podcast, hit me up on Twitter at Will D Palazzo. On the Twitter. And that time is 1 hour 27 minutes. Okay. That's where I'll need to edit from later. Okay, cool. I made a note.